Next item here, I guess what we'll do is take a little bit of a look at a particular form of malware. And Matt, you took a look at this one.
Yep. So this is big in the news now. FBI has announced that they have, in coordination with a number of law enforcement agencies across the world, arrested, or at least given other people the opportunity to arrest, people related to the Blackshades remote access Trojan, remote access tool. Blackshades has been around for a while. I remember when I first came here, it was one of the first things that I took some time to look at. It's a very full-featured remote access Trojan, all the standard features you would expect, password stealing, key logging, the works, basically. Web camera. It's
microphone.
Yes, and that actually came into play. Blackshades was used famously. It was Miss Teen America of one of the previous years. Someone used Blackshades against her on her own personal computer. So people, this one has been around for a while. Not only with Miss Teen America, but I believe activists in Syria and some other country had somebody use this against them.
Yeah, this is one that really struck me in the creep factor.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. It's intrusive, is right, the long and short of it. But it seems that FBI has gone ahead, seized, I believe it was 1,900 domains related to Blackshades, shut down the main website, and somehow obtained information to find the customers of the main Blackshades website to either contact, raid, or arrest them as well. And it varied depending on which country it was. But this is a huge action to take against a single piece of malware. And I think that's the difference here, is that it's the malware itself that's the common thread between the arrests and the takedown. It's not any particular group of actors. It's not as if you had, a gang somewhere that happened to be using Blackshades. It's the malware is the focus of it. I think it sends a message more than anything else that, these sort of rats are available. Blackshades was available for like $45 on the internet at the low end. But I think this is more of a message to say, this is not going to be tolerated any longer. Right. Even though some of this stuff is sold as, remote administration tools for legitimate purposes, not that Blackshades was, but this is going to sort of, I'm not sure, this is drawing the line in the sand, I guess is the right metaphor for it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And there were some sort of special circumstances around this. If I understand correctly, and to some extent this was speculation, but we were talking a little bit earlier about how there appeared to be some central command and control associated with this. Is even though you bought the malware and used the malware, that there actually was sort of a home for it, some cloud-based aspect to it.
I'm not sure of the details myself. I was under the impression that the domains that were being provided were part of the package. You would buy Blackshades, but you would also get yourself like a dynamic domain somewhere that someone had set up for you to allow the infections to connect back to it. Right. So it was partly the malware, but partly also a service aspect to it as well, is my understanding.
Okay.
The other interesting aspect of this case, I think, is that it was a global type of initiative. And one of the things I observed about this is in other countries they have different laws than we have in the United States. So the depth of prosecution and I guess warrants and what they can do is very different depending on what country that particular person was in. So you might see that there was more actual legal action occurring against users of this software in other countries like places, Europe and Australia, I think was another one that had a lot of people. So interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I guess this is one of these cases where I think the move toward greater deterrence is a positive thing, and it's really a matter of keeping that balance. Obviously, you want to protect the freedoms of be able to experiment with things, learn about types of attacks that could take place, so that you can protect yourself against it. But at the same time, making sure that it's not used in an abusive way.
And that is a good point. That Blackshades was so cheap that if you wanted to research the malware yourself, you may as well just drop the $45 and buy yourself a copy. But if that puts you on the list of possible prosecution, that's a dangerous sort of thing to do. If you're a legitimate malware researcher or you're some criminal, you're on the same list at that point.
Yeah. Well, we don't know the facts about whether it was simply purchasing or if it was observed use of that malware that was actually what was being scrutinized here.
Correct.
I presume it's the latter.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah.